Thanks for checking out this comic book review. This is only the second one I've done, so I don't know how often I'll do these, but I feel like this should be a really good follow up, and hopefully people are interested in this or hearing about my thoughts on this one. And that is the 2019 comic Something is Killing the Children, and that's put out by Boom, which I don't think I've actually. Okay, I was just gonna say I don't think I've read anything by Boom, but I haven't read much by Boom. That's how I should put it. Actually, I haven't read much by them. Now, shout out to my good friend Rich Smith who hooked me up with this trade because that's what I'm doing for these reviews. It's always going to be a trade because I don't just want the first issue. I feel like the first issue it's a little bit too hard to tell how the story and how the comic in general is going to be. So get a nice feeling. This is like the first five, I think. When trades are usually six, I think this is just the first five. At least that's how it was broken down in here. Um, yeah, chapter five was the last one in this one, but I'm very much interested in this story. Rich had informed me that apparently this has been optioned for. It's either I think he said a show, but it could also be a movie. But it would make more sense as a show since you know there's a lot of material right here, and they're continuing to go along. And I think this is a comic book that I am very much interested in pursuing further. So the short intro definitely does grab you with a big mystery that you really want to find out how it unfolds as the pages go by. So, as it would insinuate, this is a town where something is killing the children. That something is revealed pretty early on in the story. So the real synopsis is that it's a town, something's killing the children, and someone shows up to do some detective work slash resolution of the situation. I want to keep it kind of vague because I don't want to give too much away with this if people just want to read it for themselves, which I would recommend if you're into horror comics. It's definitely worth checking out. But very interesting story from the get go. I feel like the pacing throughout the comic is good. It's not. There aren't like long stretches of time where it just seems like they're wasting time or they're having too much dialogue between characters and it's not going anywhere. Even when there is an action, and there is like a decent amount of action for being early on in the comic book's existence. More action than I thought there would end up being. But even when they're not having action sequences and it's more calm, they're still moving story forward. They're presenting new mysterious aspects to things. More things pop up that you're just like, well, now I want to know about this, and now I want to know about this. So there's more to like hook you in with the intrigue. Additionally, too, they're slowly developing characters. They're not taking. When I say slowly developing characters, people could construe that as being like they're taking a long time and it's getting kind of boring doing that. No, as in they're just dropping little bits of character development here and there to keep the pace pretty good at a decent clip. So yeah, the way shadows are done in this is kind of odd, I will say, but it kind of works at the same time. Now that goes to the artwork in general. When I first started reading it, I was like, I don't know about the artwork to this because it's less detailed than I typically like for comic books, especially less. I mean, very much less detailed than Undiscovered Country. But let me show you an example. I don't want to open it to a page though that gives a lot away because I don't want to give like story away. But I also want you to be okay. This is okay. This is a good one to show because it doesn't give too much away, but it's intriguing at the same time. So there. If you look at this one, you can. Is this lined up right? Okay. If you look at this, you can see like the way the shadows are done. It's mainly just like a bunch of kind of pencil scratches in essence, which is a really weird thing that I don't think I've really seen before. But for that reason, it's kind of like more of a kind of stripped down style of art in the comic book, which like I was saying, I like more detail to it. But as I kept reading it, I felt like, you know what? It's fine. Like, it's just, I overcame my preference, which that's all it was. It was just a preference that I had. I ended up overcoming that. I became very comfortable with the artwork in it. And my friend Rich, I was talking to him about that initially, and he was just like, I think, he said that he believes the bit more of like a vague aspect to the art kind of lends itself better to the story. And I think he's right after considering it, because the thing or the things or whatever is killing the children, like I said, it does show up in here. You do see it. It's not really detailed. It's even less detailed than the people are in the artwork in here, which I think is kind of a good thing, because it's one of those things in, like in film basically, where your imagination's usually going to come up with something even scarier than whatever they would end up putting on screen. So it kind of walks that line of like showing you enough because you have that interest in wanting to see it, but not showing you too much to the point where people would get potentially disappointed in what it looks like. So I do feel like, after considering it more, that the artwork does work pretty well with it. So yeah, I'm down with that. Like, check out what I had to say next. It's not a whole lot to it. The panel layout does get confusing from time to time. This is something that I talked about with the Undiscovered Country. I don't know if it's become more of a common thing over the years that the art panel layout gets kind of funky from time to time. But for me, when you have, once again, I don't want to show too much. When you have this page, like the page divide right here, like it's kind of hard. Like you can see here, you're actually supposed to read on this one, like read all the way across the 2 pages, but it's hard because there's this break, and we're just used to, as we read as human beings, you're used to reading it, reading the whole page all the way down and then going to the next page. Like that's just how you normally read. And some of the pages are like that. But then when you come to these, where it's like you have to go all the way across the top, it gets hard to figure that out, because in the middle where the crease is, you don't know, is this like, with some of the instances, not for this one in particular, you could see like where the actual panel on the top one here is being bisected. So like then okay, I'm supposed to read all the way across. But there are ones where that's not the case, and it's kind of all the way on this page or all the way on that page. And you are supposed to read all the way across, but it's not easy to tell. So I've had times where I just start reading down the page and then realize, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. Oh, I'm supposed to read all the way across. And there's some other kind of funky layouts in there. So it becomes a bit of a guessing game as to how you're supposed to read. So that's just a moderate annoyance that I have with this comic. But like I said, I had that with Undiscovered Country as well. I think it's a little worse for me in this comic, though. The story is certainly compelling, and they never idle for too long. Like I said, even when there is an action, they're still adding to the experience. I think that's kind of a good way to put it, because not only are they doing what I was saying before, like developing characters and adding new mysteries, but they're building the atmosphere to the story even more, and you're starting to get more of a feel of like the size of the town, how the town operates, how well people know each other in the town, the overall feeling of the town, those types of things. So it's pretty good. So overall, I would just say in this first trade, there are already some really interesting surprises, some things that they did and places they went that I wasn't expecting them to go, especially not this early in the comic. I kind of felt like they would stretch it out a little bit more, and I'm fine with them not doing that. It just makes me believe that they have so much story to tell, and that makes me even more excited for the issues to come. So I would highly recommend this. If I'm giving star ratings out of 5 stars with half stars in play, I give this a really solid 4-star rating at the moment. Although I would say if I read more issues, that may very well go up for me. Could even go to a 4.5, even a 5 at some point, but you just have to wait to see where it goes. I do want to show you, usually in the backs of trades, if you're familiar with this or not, they have like the variant cover artwork for a bunch of the issues. And I just want to show you my favorite one is this one. This one right here. I mean, this one's cool too, but this one looks amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. The other thing is, like some comics do, they have a little teaser in the very back for another comic called The Woods. And I believe I always read those teasers because it's a good way to see, would I be interested in getting this and checking it out? And I would be interested in doing The Woods. But then I was reading it, I was like, This is very familiar. I'm pretty sure I read it. I used to have a subscription to Comixology some time ago when I was reading a lot of comics digitally. I prefer physical though, honestly. But I'm pretty sure I read some of The Woods. So I then started thinking back and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember enjoying it. So I might do The Woods. I don't know. But put some recommendations down in the comments, please. Should I do The Woods as well? What are some horror related comic books that you would really like to see me do reviews on, or you just think I might like in general? That would be cool, and I can see what I can do. But like I said, I don't know how often I'm going to do these reviews. It's just kind of like when I have time to get the comics and when I have time to read the comics and take notes, uh, amongst all the other things in my life, including the copious amounts of movie reviews and stuff I do. But anyway, thank you for checking this out. Put some comments down there. Your feelings on this comic as well. Not only recommendations for me, but your feeling on this comic if you've read it. And yeah. Thank you for this. Please subscribe because I will have more of these types of videos coming at some point. I would appreciate that if you did subscribe because, you know, I don't make money doing this or anything. And if you want to show appreciation for any video I've ever done, that's your way to repay me. Just subscribe. But regardless, I really do thank you for taking your time to watch this. Until next time, keep it brutal.